Okay, hi guys. What this video is going to do is going to show you how to create an infographic that's suitable for your well-being area. So, what we're going to do, we're going to use two different programs. We're going to use Adobe Illustrator, and we're also going to need, to begin with, your Kickstarter. Okay, so on Google Classroom, on Kickstarter, what we've got there are some Illustrator graphics for the infographics lesson. So we've got a range of different sort of graphs, pie charts, line charts, all of which are editable. So we'll come on to those in a moment. For the time being then, we're going to need Adobe Illustrator, and you're going to need to go to File and New to create your page. On here, you can either select all the different page sizes. We're going to use A3, and then you've got an option either to have it landscape or portrait. We're going to keep ours portrait for the time being. You can obviously choose. So I'm going to hit OK, and then we've got our blank page. With the infographics then, alongside the actual graphics itself, you've got the information, and you need to use the internet, and you need to find some information about your area of well-being. Mine is looking at childhood asthma. I think something like that could be improved. I'm going to design a product kind of suited around there. So I've gone onto the World Health Organization website and found some key facts about asthma. Ideally, you're looking for kind of numerical data. Okay, so the amount of people it affects, kind of the percentage of people who have it, also things like, in this case, causes of it, is there any cure, etc., etc. So I found lots of information on here. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use the text tool on the left-hand side. We're going to drag ourselves a text box, and we're going to start to put in our information. If it's too small for you to see, you can select it, and at the top you've got your different font sizes. Okay. After you've done that, we're going to hit File and Save. Obviously, working with technology, we don't know what's going to happen, so I'm going to put asthma infographic, and we're going to save that in my documents like so. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on typing these, and we'll show you the next part. Okay, so we've now got all of our text in here that I've taken from the website. Now, some of them, when you start to type, you might see this kind of little red cross. There's one over here and one here. Basically, that means that the text box isn't big enough to fit it all in. So if you drag your text box a little bit bigger, it will disappear. Okay, so there's a few cases that I just need to do that on. And we're going to move the text to the side. So I'm going to have a title on mine, which we're going to have fairly big at the top of our page. And one of the things that hopefully you've seen from the infographics so far is the choice of text. The text tends to be in capital letters, and it also tends to be a sans serif font, which means it's not got the little flicky parts on it. If we go for something like Times New Roman, okay, Times New Roman has got these flicky parts which we call serifs on the font, and it doesn't give it a modern look. Okay, it's more kind of old-fashioned look. So looking through all the different fonts, we've got one that we tend to use for a lot of the DT stuff called Lemon Milk. Capital letters, nice and simple, modern looking. So we're going to use that. To zoom out, you've got a zoom tool. If you hold down Alt and then click, it will zoom out. I find that the easiest way. There are different ways that you can do it through the View menu if you wish. So I've got my text here. I'm going to make it nice and big. The sizes are at the top. It only goes up to 72, so if you want something bigger, you have to type that size in. I'm going to try 200, which fits perfectly into the top of my page, and I can drag that to the position that I want. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a look at putting a background onto here. It's going to use a nice kind of simple background colour, and to do that we can use the rectangle tool. So the rectangle tool, drag and drop. If you need to make it bigger, I've not quite got the top here, you can select your black arrow and drag it to the size that it needs to be, and over to the side. Okay. To change the colour of it, you've got a colour button down here, the fill button. If you double click that, you can choose what colour you want. So in the constraints, it said that we're going to limit the amount of colours that we use. We're going to limit it to about three different hues. but we can change from the hue. As you can see here, this is hue 186, and no matter where we click in here, they're just different kind of tints and shades of it. So I'm going to use this colour, and they tend to be muted colours, which means they don't tend to use these really kind of bright colours. They tend to be towards the left hand side of the swatch, which tends to be a kind of a modern approach that they use at the moment. It tends to be kind of in fashion. So now you can see we've changed the colour of the background, but it's over the top of our text, which isn't what we want. So to change that, it works with layers. You can right click it and go to arrange and center back, and that'll pop it on the layer behind so our text is at the top. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do then is we're going to have a look at putting some images on. And again, in the constraints, it says that you need to do 2 live traces on your infographic. So over here, what I'm going to have a look at are the causes of asthma. So here are some of the causes. Got tobacco, smoke, animals, pollen, and air pollution. And I'm going to choose a big infographic to represent tobacco smoke. To do that, I'm going to go onto the internet, and I've had a look just before. I typed in cigarette logos, and again, you're looking for an image which is relatively simple. So here's a nice one of a cigarette. Lots of the others are logos. You could put in cigarette clip art. Obviously, for some of you, you might want to have a go at trying to draw one of these, and I'll show you that later on. So I'm going to choose this image. I'm going to copy it over, right-click and copy, and then onto Illustrator, Command and V or Control and V will stick it in, or you can go to Edit and Paste should you wish to. Now, at the moment, if I zoom in, this is a bitmap image, and if you're not already aware, bitmap images have got these pixels. They are not editable, or certainly not editable easily, and also you get this kind of pixely effect, which isn't what Illustrator is. Illustrator uses vectors, which if we zoom in on these letters, you can see no matter how far I zoom in, it'll be nice, perfect, smooth lines, and that's what we're after. So if I go back to my, image, okay, so I can go to Fit All in Window. What I need to do now, okay, is I need to put that picture in. I need to show you how to edit it. So paste it in, and this is called a live trace. If you go over to Object, down near the bottom, there is something called live trace. Okay. What we want to ideally do is go to Tracing Options, and you're looking to do a trace ideally in colour. There's a couple of different ways to do it. So this is one way. If you choose colour in here, you can choose the maximum number of colours that you want to select. I'm going to leave mine at 6 and hit trace. If I zoom in, you can see it's trace my image like this. Now what I tend to find is the colour trace doesn't tend to work as well for what we want. It picks up too much information. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out again, and I'm going to undo that. And this time what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to do a live trace without going into Tracing Options, and I'm going to go to Make and Expand. What Make and Expand will do, it will default to black and white, and it will expand it in such a way that you can edit these other parts. You can select the other parts. In this case, I can hit delete on the white bits that I don't want, and it can change them. Okay? You can see now that it's got kind of smoother lines. The only issue with that, because it's in black and white, if I select this and I go over to colour, no matter what colour I choose, it will come out in different shades of grey. So one way around it, which is a bit fiddly, if you go to Colour Guide and choose a colour, what looks like a colour, that's now going to select colours. You can now go into your Colour Guide and you can select colours from there. Okay, so it defaults to black and white. You have to go into Colour Guide there and change it. So I find that the best way. So again, thinking about this muted colour scheme, I'm going to choose sort of blues, reds and whites for mine. So I'm going to go up to reds here, and in fact I'm going to choose I'm going to choose a red. I'm going to choose quite a muted colour for it. Almost looks like pink. hit OK, and that'll change it like so. I can do the same with these parts here. Okay, kind of the hot pot cigarette. Again, I'm going to go to colour guide, choose a colour, back into my colours, and I'm going to choose red again, and this time I'm going to choose a slightly warmer sort of red to represent the fire there. Select these. If you want to select more than one thing, you hold down Shift. This time I'm going to select white, and I've got my kind of editable cigarette now, which I can use as a graphic. And what's quite nice about it, if I use my black arrow, select this, and I can drag it to the size I want. If you hold down Shift, it makes sure it's kind of scalable. Okay, so drag that to the right size, put that into the position that I want. I'm going to have it there, maybe a little bit smaller, and then I can start to put my text in as well. So I want the bit that says causes include near the top. I'm going to change that to the font that I had before as well, which was lemon milk, and I'm going to change the colour of my text. Up here you've got a few different swatches, so if it's simple ones like black and white, I tend to select it and go up here. Anything else, I tend to go down there. Okay, so again, save your work, just hit Command and S, or you can go to that, and then you can put these parts in here. So I'm just going to do the same with this one and show you a kind of a nice neat way to change the colour. I want different size on this. There tends to be lots of variations in size of fonts. It's probably a bit too small on Infographics, so I'm going to change the font size like so. Now this time, because I want a similar colour scheme, I want the same colour as either the end of the cigarette or the cigarette there. So what I can do, I can select that, I can choose my eyedropper tool, and then simply click different parts of the picture, and it should then choose that colour. Okay, so click there, and it's changed it to that exact colour, so you don't have to worry too much about trying to match them up. You can select the ones off the screen. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few more text on here, and we'll show you the next part. Okay, alright, so I've put the different information on, positioned it where I want. You can see I've just done a live trace as well of a dog and a cat to link in with the different causes. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do another live trace, just to show you some of the features of it. So if we zoom out a little bit, what I want to do down here, I've got a nice kind of bit of information about 1 in 11 people suffering from asthma. So using the internet again, I've got an outline of a person, same sort of thing. I'm going to copy and paste him in. Oops. Resize him. Again, remembering to hold down Shift if you're resizing anything. And we're going to do a live trace again. So I'm going to make and expand that. Use the white selection arrow to select the different parts that I want to delete. So in this case it's the white parts. The bits down here are going to be a little bit tricky to see. So zoom in. So this is all kind of stuff that we've done before. Like so. Select my person. I'm going to have a pink image there for my character. Select him like so. Shrink him down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy my person. So Control and C, and then Control and V will paste. And what we need to do now is to line him up. Now, if you can see there, if I move him, we come up with a little green line which shows you where to align things. So you can align it like that. The other way that you can align it, if I select a few and I purposely make them a bit lower, you can select all the different characters, and then you've got different align tools up here. So this one, for instance, says vertical align top. With them all selected, if I hit that, it will make them all aligned. You can also, if I pull one out on purpose and then select them again, you can distribute them. Okay, so distribute the centers. It will kind of equally divide them like so. Alright, so what I'm going to do is bunch all these together. I'm going to copy them, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay, right, so I've copied my character image, and I've now got 11 people. which suits my information that we've got here. So 1 and 11, to represent that, I'm going to choose one of my characters, and I'm going to change the colour of that so 1 stands out. Obviously I can make that bigger or smaller should I need to. Now if we zoom out on this, just want to show you one of the other little parts that we can do. Obviously this probably needs to be a little bit bigger at some point, is the text. Now the text that I want to use for this, I want on the side. Okay, I don't want it like so. If you hover your mouse over it, you can see a rotation icon. As you rotate that though, the text bar rotates, but the text inside doesn't. So what we need to do is we need to go to type, and we need to create outlines from that type. So these are now all editable shapes basically. The computer won't recognize them as letters, so you need to make sure that your spellings are correct before you do that, because you won't be able to edit it. Now if you hover over, I'm going to hold down Shift, and that does it in kind of 45-degree increments. I can now have my writing on the side, and I can change the size of it as well in the normal kind of way. Okay. Not quite happy with all my characters here, so I'm going to select these, and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. And then the other thing I want to try and do with this, so if I make that like so, move those across, is I think it'd look quite nice if we had a box around it. Choose my rectangle shape, have a box around it, and I want it to be a slightly lighter shade than what I've got. So again, I can double click in here, or I could use my eyedropper to choose the colour. I'm just going to do it kind of quickly from here and choose a lighter version like so. So something like that looks quite cool. And I want rounded edges on it. So the rounded edges, if I go to Effect and down to Stylize, I can round the corners. You can type in the amount of radius, hit Preview to see what it looks like. Doesn't seem to be previewing for some reason. There we go. So that looks okay to me. Hit OK. Again, we're working in layers, so I want to arrange. I don't want to send it to the back this time because it will go behind all of the stuff that we've got. I just want to send backwards, or Command and left bracket. So if I keep pressing left bracket, it will go behind like so, and then eventually it will pop behind my text as well. So if we zoom out, see what we've got so far. Okay, so we've got an infographic looking like that so far. We'll save it, and I'll show you how to use the graphics that we've got from Google Classroom to pop into here. Okay. All right, now I've got my picture like so. We're going to use some of the information that we have got from Google Classroom. So, on Google Classroom, as I say, you've got the range of these different examples for Illustrator. You can download any ones that you want. I've done that just before this tutorial. And to use them, I'm just going to go to File and Open. Now, the examples that we give are basically all together. We don't want everything all together. We only want certain graphs, certain documents from them. So the one I'm going to choose, I noticed there was quite a nice one with maps there. Might be quite good to show you how it affects different parts of the world. The one I was going to choose had a laptop in, so it was that one that I wanted. So I'm going to open this. I'm going to open it in another page, and you should be able to see if you click on the white arrow again, all these different parts are editable. Okay, so we can choose any parts of them. So I'm going to select this part here. Just going to copy that, go back into my other document, and we're going to paste it in. Paste it in like so. And for some reason on here, it's collected these kind of bars for some reason, so I'll delete those. So I've now just got my laptop. If I drag it on, so I want this one to show that cases of asthma are rising. I don't know the exact figures, so I'm just going to use this as basically just a picture. It doesn't need to be accurate, although these points are editable. I can move those should I want to. So I'm going to choose the white arrow again. I'm going to select the screen. And again, change the colour in the same way, or like usual, you can go into the eyedropper tool and you can select certain parts of it. So I can select that colour, change the colour of, so it's the same as the text. Go into that, and do it the same way. Okay. All of these little parts are editable as well, so if you wanted to change the colours of these units or move them around, you can certainly do that. And then if you want to select more than one thing, that's not grouped, and as you can see when I drag that over, it collects sort of all the text and things that I don't want as well. So it's holding down Shift, I can get rid of these parts which I don't want. So that's also picking up that text box, I don't want that. And it's also picked up the main page, which I don't want. So it's now got it like so. To make life easier, I tend to group a lot of things together, and now if I try and select it, it groups it as one, and I can change the size to how I want. Okay, move it around. We'll see what we've got so far then. Okay, so there is an infographic, pretty much complete. I might want to move a few bits around, maybe putting some graphs and stuff in this space here, but that's the kind of stuff that we're looking for you to produce. Once you've done that, you need to save it. You'll also have to save it as a JPEG or a PDF, upload it to Sketch Drive, tag it. We'll have a look for some feedback, and if you can feedback on other students as well, that'd be brilliant. Okay, so this is your lesson for today. Have an explore with Illustrator, and you need to produce an infographic for your well-being area. Okay, good luck.